Hello, my name is Jay. Welcome to my channel. 2 weeks ago, I created a video, just a short one, calling for questions that people wanted to ask me, and I got quite a few, which is good. So I was worried I wouldn't get anything, but hey, I got a bunch. And there are several that got asked multiple times in different ways, so I'm just going to clump them together, and I'll go over those first, and then I'll go over the rest. So let's go on with my first Q&A, or question and answer. Down in the description, I'll put the time and the question people asked it, so you can kind of go through and just go right to the question if you want. That way you don't have to watch the whole thing and see what's going to happen and find the questions later. So you can get right to it and get on with your day. And also down below in the description, I'll have links to all the videos that I mentioned, all the YouTube channels and videos I mentioned in this video. And if any of the people asking questions are also vlogging, I'll put their YouTube channels below. I know a couple of them are, but I think most aren't. At least they haven't mentioned. So enjoy the Q&A. So I've seen plenty of Q&As before, but I want to do something a little different. So hopefully this is a little not the usual thing you see with Q&As. So here's the first question. We have, let's see here. This is Bob PCT 2020 is asking, are you going to do another thru hike? And we also have Reverend AI asking, what about future thru hikes? And then we also have Shelly Sky asking, are you going to aim for a triple crown? And the answer to that is, I do plan on doing the AT. Right now I'm thinking 2021, starting in February. That's quite a while off, so things can change, so who knows. And I'd like to do the CDT either the next year. Before I was thinking, depending on how quickly I can do the AT, I might do the CDT the following year, or the later half of the year going SOBO. But I probably won't do that. I'll probably wind up doing CDT 2022. I thought it would actually work out really well because I'll turn 50 on trail, so the big CDT would be my 50th birthday. So that's the plan right now. I don't have any long thru hikes planned for this coming year, but 2021 we should have quite a bit of fun. All right. Thank you, Bob PCT, Reverend AI, and Shelly Sky. The next question up, we have two people asking similar questions, but then they added some other questions, so I'm gonna go over all of them. Let's go over a short one first. We have coming up here. Let's see. All right, we got Joyce James asking, hi Jay, I'm interested in how you prepare for the PCT and your motivation for doing it. Thanks for your great videos. And then we have, let's see, coming in from the side here, Tina Bean asking, how did all this start for you? Pretty much kind of like the motivation thing. What event happened in your life that made you decide to do the PCT and then the SUV living and traveling? Well, Tina Bean and Joyce, before 2014, I really didn't do any hiking, never backpacking. The only kind of backpacking I did was in the Marine Corps with, a platoon of other guys. So in 2014, up till then, I was actually working a 9-to-5 day job in the IT field. And I had a dog toward the end of those years. And I was pretty happy. I mean, job was stressful, but coming home every day, just petting your dog, just all that stress goes away, and it gives you purpose to go to work the next day. But once she passed away, it didn't feel right for me. I didn't enjoy the work. I felt no purpose, and it felt like all the money was going into home payments or rent. And if you look at your budget, paying for your living, like apartment or mortgage, is a significant amount of your spending, unless you vacation a lot or go party a lot. But for me, it was a huge majority. So I felt if I get rid of that, I could retire early. Well, I could sell my house, retire early, and continue on. But so from 2014, once my dog passed away, I wanted a lot of alone time. So I started watching YouTube videos, and for the first time I ever realized that people hiked and backpacked by themselves. I never realized that. I'll make another video going into further details, all the people that influenced me. But from that point, I started hiking, then I started backpacking later that year, just a few months later, and then I was hooked and I was testing out backpacking gear and all different types of stoves, fuels. I'm really into gear and figuring stuff out, and I had a great time. And I originally thought about hiking to AT, but then from all the videos I saw, it was just way too crowded for me, and I'm not a partier, so I wasn't interested. Then I saw the PCT and I thought, oh yeah, I could do that. So around late 2014, I started thinking about thru hiking, and then I started asking, how do I accomplish this? And there I am, 2020 now. All right, so Tina Bean and Joyce, thank you for your questions, and on to the next one. Okay, next question's up. There were 3 people who asked similar questions regarding how I support my lifestyle. So we have, right here, we have DX. Hey Jay, how do you support your lifestyle? And so there's that. And then we have Maui Isaac. Oops, let's put this card away, pick up it. Maui Isaac asking, how do you support your rock and roll lifestyle? No, really, PCT, sweet 400 build, another year traveling. Yeah, I'm a little jealous. Do you own a business? I do not, really. Did you win the lottery? No. Are you a time traveler? I wish, but no. And then we have Eugene Saburi. Oh, here we go. Hey Jay, it sounds like you used to have a normal 9-to-5 job before your hiking life. Are you still working the same type of job or changed careers? What factors are you considering making this decision? All right. So Eugene's question has something to do with the previous question as far as motivation to quit the job and just go, because I didn't feel a purpose with work. And as far as how I support my lifestyle, I'm not rich at all. I have some savings. I sold my house, so I have some money from that. And from the military, I actually hurt my wrists, and I get ringing in my ears every now and then. It's tinnitus. It just starts ringing in a random ear, and then I can't hear when it's ringing. It's kind of weird. I don't know if you have it, you would know what I'm talking about, but if you don't, you may not. It just feels like someone puts your hand over your ear and then there's ringing. So everything's muffled and it's kind of just comes and goes. So I get a little bit of money from the military, from the VA for that. And then that with my savings, I budgeted a certain amount per month. But of course, there's things that happen like buying a new camera already, which I didn't really think I would do so soon. That's thrown off my budget. So I am trying to do other things to try to make money, because I really don't want to try to get a 9-to-5 job now or before I get my access to my 401k. Because I'm 48 now, so I have 11 years more before I can get to my retirement money without a penalty. So I have to last 11 and a half years. And right now, YouTube is a tiny bit of payment. It's not much of anything. It's actually, I could fill up my car with one tank for the YouTube money. And I do use Amazon affiliate links. I'll have some links of the camera I use and things below. And that helps a little, but that's like eating out one time as well. So it's not super big. I'm hoping as I get more reach, those will start generating a little bit more, and then I could start doing, I don't know, more traveling, more gear type videos. I would really like to stay doing something creative, which I enjoy, instead of sitting at a desk that I don't enjoy, locked in. And especially if it's a real job where you have to go somewhere and come back, and go somewhere and come back, and it's the same routine. Really don't want to do that. I really like doing creative things. I recently also started uploading videos to stock video companies. There's a company called Blackbox Global that I'm using right now. And I'll make a whole new video about all the different attempts at sources of income I have going. But you basically upload little clips from 5 to 45 seconds of anything within a criteria, but anything that some people might buy to generate stock or buy to create videos. So I went through all my PCT videos and I found maybe 80, 90 of those. I didn't really film them with the intent to upload them to stock video sites, but they were good enough quality, so I uploaded them. I do wish I knew about the stock things before the PCT, and maybe I would have recorded more that would apply or that could sell better stock media. And that's something I think every nomad should consider, especially when they travel a lot and you have a lot of time on your hands because you're not working. You could do little side projects, especially if you love videography and photography. And if you vlog, all the B-roll that you record, you can use in your YouTube videos and still sell them as well. So I believe it makes your B-roll filming much better if you try to keep stock video sales in mind. So yeah, I'm trying that. Haven't sold anything yet, but I'm hoping it gets going. I'm trying to upload more and more things, and more diversity, because currently most of mine is just nature from hiking. So hoping to do more of that, and hopefully that works out, because I'll probably need to get more new gear in a couple of years. So we'll see. But who knows, maybe 1 year I'll have to go work. I did apply for a job in Antarctica, and I was a standby, but I'm not sure what's going to happen for the rest of this year. And I don't know, we'll see. If they try to call me during our summer season, I probably won't go, just because I have plans for 2020 and I really don't want to spend the prime hiking season down there. So we'll just have to see. And thanks for all your questions. Next question up, we have two people asking similar questions. We have, let's see, Tom Wright asking, "Hi Jay, thank you for your interesting, entertaining videos. If you could only take one trip in 2020, all expenses paid, where would you go?" All right, and we got Joe Schmo asking, "What location is top of your bucket list to visit in 2020? All right, Joe and Tom. So, Joe, last year when I was by Colorado, I camped at a free site and I was able to see Pikes Peak. So I definitely want to do that. I know how popular it is, but I definitely want to do that. That's one of my 14ers I want to do this year. And Tom, when I first read the question, I thought, where could I go that's, super expensive, like a guided mountain climb or something. But you know what? I just realized I would go to outer space. I don't know if they're doing it already, but I thought they were, but maybe they're doing it by now. But I forgot how expensive it was too, but it'd be nice to just go to outer space. If they could, I would go to the moon. I don't know how much that's going to cost. That would cost a ton, but all expenses paid, right? But yeah, that would be awesome to go to the moon and come back. But I guess I'll take outer space. Mars would be even better, but yeah, I'll take outer space and back. So, if any of you guys are billionaires or something. All right, our next question comes from Corey, actually, from Second Chance Hiker. I'll link to his channel right up there. All right, Corey asks, "Great idea for the Q&A. I'm curious, now that you're in Germany, are you tempted to move to Germany more permanently?" And then Willard says, "Idlewild reunion." Well, are you? I can't imagine you would, because you have kids too. But no, I am not. She made fun of me yesterday because I still can't count to 10 in German. I forget random numbers, but no, because there's so much to do in the States still, and I still want to spend a year in Alaska. There's a lot to do. There's so much to do. So I will probably spend quite a while there. And there's only so many years left. Good years, I guess. So we'll see. And then I have the thru hikes planned, and then this year's all planned out. So no, probably not going to move here permanently. And Tina also pretty much agrees that if she lived here in Hamburg permanently, she would go crazy, because there are no mountains here. There's no good hiking. It's good if you want to work to build up money so you could travel more, but staying here permanently is not that much fun. There's some cool things, but cool things can't last a lifetime here, so we'll see. Thanks, Corey. Hope you had a nice time in Germany, and we'll maybe see each other when you get back. We have a question from Everyday Backpacker. Let's see, let's swipe across. Okay, according question time. What was your best and worst memory of your PCT through hike? Alright, well, the best memory, I thought when the sun started coming up over by Forester Pass, once we summited it, we were on the other side a little bit, and then the sun started coming up. It was pretty amazing, and just looking down and looking north and just seeing just whiteness everywhere. No lakes, everything was frozen. I don't know if that was one of my favorite moments, but it was quite a memorable one. Also the feeling of knowing that we have to go down and we didn't know how. And it was kind of weird as well, but I'd say that was one of the best ones. I don't know which one would be the best one. As far as the worst memory on the PCT, I would say it was Northern California. It was so hot. I forgot what town we were in the first time when it was over 100 Fahrenheit. And then we checked the weather and they said, oh yeah, the heat wave is ending next day or two. And I thought, oh great, it's ending. But unfortunately, as we hiked north, the heat wave moved north. So it was leaving the towns, but it was stuck with us for days. It was horrible. So I just remember there was one section I was just trying to get from shade to shade. Little goals. I didn't have the through hike in mind. My goal for that point in time was make it to the next bit of shade, recover a little, make it to the next bit of shade. That's all I thought for that day, and it was pretty hot and not windy, so it can get tough sometimes, but I don't know. I still had fun doing it. Little goals, you know? Next question, let's see. We got Dan J. Do you like having the bed elevated so high? And this is related to my car. I have a tough time sleeping in the back of my 4Runner, even with nothing under me due to lack of space. Alright. Even with nothing under you, that's quite a bit amount of space. I guess you can't sit up. Like, you can definitely not sit up in mine. But any of you folks that have been in the Navy or Marine Corps and you've spent a lot of time on ships and you're not an officer, you know those cots are so short. They're like that high. You couldn't, laying down, if you brought your knee up to put your foot on the bed, your knee would bang the bottom of the cot above you. It's so narrow. If you turn to your side, it's just barely there. And my entire thing was, that's unacceptable in my build. So I knew that at least my knees, it'd have to be higher than my leg, and it is by quite a bit, so I'm pretty comfortable. Yeah, you can't sit up, but I mean, maybe when I get older and I get stiffer, it'll be harder, but I find it's good height. And that platform is just for laying down. And I do have a sitting spot where I could sit straight and it's fine. I think you do need a spot where you can sit up somehow or another, otherwise you go crazy in there because you can't lay down all the time. But yeah, sorry Dan, I don't know what else to tell you. If you're having trouble with the height with nothing in it, I think the best thing you can do is get a cargo box for the top, and at least you'll have some space under where the rear seats would be if you take those out. But the cargo box may be the best thing, and you may have to get the full-size cargo box. If you want a solar panel, that's going to be another thing altogether. So cargo box may be the only solution, or some kind of trailer. But trailers limit where you can go because it's harder to back out with it. So I guess you'll figure out someday. All right, thanks for your question. All right, next up is another question from Reitz. His question got a bunch of replies. All right, let's show you everything here. Reitz asks, did you ever worry about your car being broken into or stolen while you were on a long hike? I think that's my biggest fear. And then Eugene Saburi and Tina Bean, they all replied about leaving a radio on, things like that, and various trailheads that are notorious. Yes, that's my biggest fear, that I'd come back from a hike or a backpacking trip and most of the stuff inside would be gone. Unfortunately, there's a tough balance between finding a trailhead that doesn't have too many people, but if it's completely empty, a thief could come in, break your window, and just have all the time you need to take everything. Or if it's so empty that nobody comes, then your car's safe. But if it's so crowded, it's usually crowded during the day, so during the night maybe someone will come and steal something, and during the day they can case out what cars are there. So it's a tough one. There have been a few hikes where I go way up, like at Saddle Mountain, Arizona. I was halfway up the thing and I looked down, I could see my car, and I knew if someone was there breaking to my car and I could see them, I won't be able to get to them in over an hour because I have to climb all the way down the backside and down. And I thought about that a lot. The big thing is, I think, for anybody that lives out of a car or RV or anything, is a break-in is almost, I wouldn't say inevitable, but highly likely over a course of many years. The best thing you can do is try to keep all valuables kind of concealed. And my windows aren't completely tinted, but the back is pretty tinted, and I like darker blankets, try to cover up anything. I do have a black fleece, and I try to use that to cover up anything else, and a black moving blanket, and I try to cover up anything with that, just to kind of try to hide anything that looks really valuable. Although if it appears like someone lives in your car, they're going to know there's something in there whether they see it or not. The other thing too is get a console safe or some kind of safe that's locked into your car that thieves would have a very hard time breaking into, and just keep your valuables in there. I have the locker down console safe, and I keep extra cash, a credit card, and various expensive things like cameras, InReach I keep in there. Things that are small and expensive, and things that'll help you get back to living until you can get all your replacements, like your ID. So I do have my passport, extra credit card, tons of extra cash, just keep it in there, and hopefully they don't break into it. So if you come back from a hike and you see everything's gone, at least you can have that to have your resources to be able to buy more food, travel, get gas, and I guess get a new phone to do that. Well, you have your phone with you. But yeah, it's a tough one, and that's the biggest thing on my mind when I started all this. And that's why I also wanted a car that kind of looks like a car, not necessarily that someone lives out of it. Like if you have a truck camper, that's obvious, and if it's not moving and there are no lights on, people will know that someone's not living there and they're gone. It's a tough one. It's an age-old question everyone wishes they had an answer for, but super tough. Just have insurance. Next question up. We got Paul Graves asking, car camping from one interesting place to another is something I like to do. Just wondering if the time or driving between gets boring or depressing a little. Paul, all right. So Paul, I have found it's not. If you go from a more middle of nowhere type to another, there's always towns in the way, and you can always plan out a shower, resupply, laundry, grocery store, eat out, upload videos, and then continue on. If you have large gaps, I found it's not too bad. I've never had super long drive days unless I was coming home where there aren't as much public land. But out west, I didn't have too many super long days. So as long as you can plan out places to camp, you can drive just a few hours, camp out, spend a day, a few hours, camp out, spend a day, and it's not so bad. I try to avoid driving all day too much because you're just wasting gas. It's better to just drive a little bit, camp out, maybe go see something, drive a little bit and so on, unless you're in a hurry to get somewhere. And then if that's true, then you kind of have to deal with it and just listen to music and sing along, do the usual things. But I don't find it depressing or boring. Does that answer your question, Paul? Thanks. Next question up is Mary Burke. All right, let's see here. All right, Mary Burke asks, have you considered hiking the PNT, Pacific Northwest Trail, or Haydukes? All right, Mary, I have not yet, because those are shorter hikes. I have kind of other things planned out that take a majority of the hiking seasons, and I do want to do the Arizona Trail someday, as well as the Colorado Trail, and maybe the Pacific Northwest Trail. I saw a YouTube series of these guys that were doing it, and it looked interesting. It's just you have to pick the right times for it, so we'll see. I haven't done any research, and while we were driving through Washington, we did see a town that said, this town welcomes thru hikers, and it was for the PNT hikers, so I thought that was funny. So, I don't know, something to do, but I haven't considered it yet. And the Haydukes Trail, I had to look it up because I didn't know what it was, and its pictures look beautiful, and it seems fascinating. Seems harder. I don't know anything about it, so I don't know how good their water supplies are. Those are my big things. My body doesn't like heat, and it requires a lot of water. But I'll read it over, but that hasn't crossed my mind at all yet. 800 miles though, that's going to take at least a couple of months, maybe less than a couple of months. From the environment, it sounds like it could be good late winter, early winter, so I don't know, I'll have to see. We have David Beers asking, I'll just raise up your question here. You mentioned in one of your PCT videos that your trail name was Alias, but I don't think you ever told the story. Give it up, brother David. All right, well, in the beginning, I was hiking with a few other people, and they offered a variety of different trail names that none of them really stuck to me. So at one point, one person said that he'll just call me Alias from now on because I have all these trail names that didn't really stick, but they had given me. So Alias it is. Alias, like I guess a TV show where there's a spy, or you have a whole bunch of aliases. So that's that. Next up, let's see, swipe it over. How do you like the DJI Osmo Pocket? Pros, cons, any issues recharging? From Wakis85. Alright, Wakis, I love the Osmo Pocket. I've had it for a little over a year now because I got it for Christmas last year. But so far, it's been great. It's so smooth. In one of my latest videos, I was running back to my car because it was so cold. Now just going for it, not thinking about the camera, but the footage is still amazingly steady. There's a little disc motion going on because it can't account for that, but it's amazing. The microphone picks up a lot of wind, and there's no good spot to stick a fuzzy on it, so that's kind of annoying. So I've been using an external mic, and I gotta say the external mic, last time I used it, cut out a couple of times, but overall, excellent camera. The only downside, of course, is that battery, that you have to keep it charged. So you always have to keep it warm. So anytime you're out super cold and use it, when you're not using it, you have to put it somewhere warm so the battery warms up again. Otherwise, just the charge level drops to nothing so quickly. The other problem with that too is it does great motion time lapses where it just pans the camera. And on the Wonderland Trail, I was going to do at least one a day, but by doing that, I actually brought a 26,800 milliamp hour battery bank, and I drained that whole thing in 7 days. And I also drained a 13,000 milliamp hour battery bank also on that whole trip. And the battery on the camera died, and my phone was just barely alive until we got to the car. So if you have the Osmo Pocket, remember to bring a good sized battery bank with you because you're gonna need it. 1080p is probably the most you can do to get a ton of time with it, but 4K is just, I didn't do any 4K, but that would kill your battery so quickly. And I recorded everything in 1080p 60 frames per second, And I think just because if you're panning, you could slow that down and smooth it out more. But I think in the future, I'm going to record them all 30 because that should give you a longer battery life. Not double, but it should give you a longer battery life. But for my plans, any hiking trips I do, I will take the Osmo Pocket just because anytime you walk with it, the footage is so steady. I think it's worth it for all the viewers to have like a nice steady view. I've been looking at some of my footage with the other cameras, and the shakiness, there was a time where I didn't mind it as much, but now I wish everything was smoother. So I will use the Osmo Pocket a lot more. We have a question from Thinking Out Loud. Let's see. All right, here we go. How far south do you travel so you don't get too cold in winter? Thinking out loud. All right. Well, this year I knew I was going to come to Germany, so I went straight home. But my plan is I like to drive to the very end of Key West. That's on my bucket list. So eventually I'll make it down there. And then other plans are like Big Bend National Park, Southern Texas, anywhere along there. I'm just going to go during winter. I can live out of my car relatively comfortably down to single digits. So I don't think it's going to get that cold for a long duration that far south. So I think I'll be super comfortable no matter what time of year it is out there. And of course, during the summer, you got to flee up north where it's a little cooler. Yeah, so anywhere along south, I really haven't been to a lot of the very southern areas. So I'm looking forward to that. Next question up, we have a longer one here. Let's see, I'll just form it right here. Felipe and Oliveoil hike. I'm preparing for the PCT 2020. I came with a bump in my resupply strategy. Wrightwood to KOA, Acton, 81 miles. How did you do? How did you plan? Thanks. Well, 81 miles isn't that long. Yes, there's a lot of elevation change, but it's 81, so we resupplied in Wrightwood and got everything. And when we went to Acton, well, we went to the KOA. We didn't even resupply there. I forget what the next spot was. But at KOA, we just got some sodas, and then we took off. But 81 miles isn't that bad. I know on the AT there's like the 100-mile wilderness, and people are saying, oh, how do you resupply in 100 miles? But by the time you get to Wrightwood, you're at almost 440, 450. So you may have your trail legs. If you don't, you can still do 81, not easily, but quickly enough that you can carry all that. If you worry that that's a lot to carry for that stretch, the Sierras are starting up within 250 miles. And once you get there, you're carrying an ice axe, bear canister, crampons, much more food, because you'll be eating more food because you need the calories, and there are more days to the next resupply. So that'll at least help you train and get ready for it. The hard part, though, of course, is when you leave Wrightwood, it's to climb up Mount Baden-Powell. The PCT doesn't hit the top of Mount Baden-Powell, but it only goes about 160 feet below the peak. So you're pretty much climbing the whole thing, and then you might as well climb that, and then you go down. But that's a tough climb with a full resupply out of Wrightwood. But it's one of the things you can look back on and laugh about and stuff. Philippe, good luck to you. I'm going to link your channel right here. I know you made some videos. I watched some of your videos with your wife, so good luck to you, and hope you have a good 2020, and hope you did well on your permit day. I don't know if you were getting different dates for that, but yeah, thanks for the question. We have another question about Forerunner living. Okay, I'm going to try to make the question up here. All right. MRWS asks, hi Jay, great videos, blah, blah, blah. I have a Forerunner and will be car camping this spring in the Southwest for a week, maybe two. My question is, what are a few must-haves for car camping in your experience? Also, love a review of your car camp setup. All right, MRWS, I have a tour video that I posted really recently, so I'll post that right here as well. But I think it's gonna be weird. The number one thing for living out of your car in spring is the bugs that be coming out. I didn't think they were gonna be coming out till later, but when I was in Arizona, the bugs started coming out late February, mid to late February. So For the first week I was out in New Mexico, everything was great. I didn't have a bug net. I just kept the window open. But come Arizona, I had mayflies just all over my car. So I knew I had to make a bug netting eventually, so I had all the things for it. So I put that up and solved all my problems. So work on making a bug netting for your windows or some way that you can keep the bugs out but keep your windows open. That's really important. I used the magnetic tape kind of thing. It's not very strong, and I kind of just sewed it up with some no-seam netting, and I put it around the edge of the window, and I epoxied neodymium magnets on the top just so it could hold it, and it holds it really well, so I'm glad I did that. And that works out great, and I've been living with that open all the time. Once it gets to be late spring though, even with the window open all the way and parking in the shade, it'll still get hot in your car. So you may have to open it, and I don't have any pictures offhand. I have some rough pictures really, but I stitched up a whole bunch of the netting and made this huge thing that fits over the door. So when I open it, I can put it on it, and then it keeps the bugs out. Although there's little holes here and there, and that has helped me a ton in the summer because with the door open, you get so much more air, and you can clip some fans on there to blow some cool air in. So number one advice is make some kind of bug netting, and then yeah, it's a big thing. Everything else is kind of the usual. You just need a cooking item like a stove, some fuel, food, I'd rather an ice box or refrigerator. If it's only for a couple weeks, you probably just get an ice box. Some people don't even use it, and you can just buy a whole bunch of canned food. I found with canned food, it's great, but each can you use, they don't stack, so your garbage bag just gets huge really quick. So it's up to you, but the bug netting is number one. I'll have a link right here. SUV RVing did a video on different types of bug netting for cars, and I thought it was really great, and I did something different, but yeah, go watch this video and then see if it gives you any ideas. Alright, next question up. Let's see, I'll just swipe it in. Tom Wright asked, one other question. What did you do in the Marines? Alright, Tom, let's clear that up. Alright, Tom, I was a air support net operator in ASNO. I worked for the Direct Air Support Center. So the Marine Corps is different in that it has a wing side and a ground side, and we all work together to be a unified fighting unit. So I always thought the Marine Corps was like a small, full military, except just much more aggressive, I guess. And what we did was be the liaisons between the ground and the air units. Some of us worked more on the wing side with a big direct air support center, and then some of us got attached to ground units, and then we communicated with them and they worked their way up. So fortunately, when I was in Iraq, both times I worked attached to a ground unit, and we worked at the Combat Operations Center, and it was, you know, not the most exciting because you sit in a building and it's like a day job, although not day things happen. But for me, I thought it was a fascinating job because if you were on one or the other, you kind of learn what they do, you learn what they do, but we have to learn what everyone does. So we learned how the integration between ground and air units, as well as naval fire, all combined together in a military drill. We did a lot of different exercises like that, and because we were in the control kind of area, we had to, we were involved in a lot of higher planning events. Not really involved, at least as far as me, but we had to be knowledgeable of things that were happening and what was going to happen, what backup plans were, what the air cover will be like, resources. So it was quite an interesting job, but not the most exciting at times usually, but interesting though. All right, let's flip this here. We have another question. This one's from Vonzolicious. What is the longest you've ever gone without seeing another human being? All right, Fonzo, Licious, the longest, believe it or not, wasn't on the PCT because you see people constantly. Even if you camp out, you can see people walking by. The longest for me was when I went to Great Smoky Mountains National Park. I was doing a 3-night hike in a loop, and it was, I believe it was early December. But first day I stayed in a shelter and I was by myself for most of the night, and then the AT Sobo hiker, thru hiker, came in, and then she stayed in the shelter. And the next morning we talked, and then I saw her, but then she left and I left and I went my way, and then she left on the AT. But from the moment I left her, I didn't see anyone for a day and a half. But then I saw 2 people at Fontana Dam. But after that, I didn't see anybody again for another day and a half. So I would say it'd be a solid day and a half. Yeah, I'd say it's a solid day and a half. Each time, there was absolutely nobody there. And I didn't even see any bears. There was nobody anywhere if I didn't see any bears. So yeah, I haven't had too much time where I didn't see anybody at all. So maybe in Alaska, maybe we get something like that. All right, we have another question. This one's from Lynn McHugh. Let's see, let's pull that up. This is probably somewhere in an earlier vlog. What is that blanket type item used as a hat and scarf? What is it made of? How big is it? All right, they're usually about 34 inches square, roughly. Some are 33 or some are 35. They're quite big, but you fold it across the corner, and that's how I wore it. And it's a chamois, and they're almost always made out of cotton. You can find alternative chamois. There's some made out of polyester, which are thinner. I wish I could find them because thinner would be better. Although the cotton was nice, when you get to a creek, I just dipped it in water and then tied it around my neck, and it was fantastic. And they're really cheap. They're usually about $10, and they're great because they absorb permethrin really well and then keep the bugs away from your face. So that's it. It's a great multi-use item. I still take it with me all the backpacking trips I do. I do have a large merino wool. It's not a chamois, but it's a huge 3-foot by 3-foot piece that effectively you can use as a chamois. But it's a little hard to breathe out of, but it's so much warmer. And I did use that when I was at Starved Rock State Park in Illinois when it was negative 10 Fahrenheit when I was out there. And I'm glad I used that. It was warm for me. Negative 10, it's pretty cold. All right, thanks, Lynn. All right, let's swipe in the next question. We'll do this. Change Nature asks, what is your general view of car camping now and from when you started? Well, actually, it's Change Nature really hasn't changed much. In the beginning, I didn't have my layout down so I could do things inside the car, so I was forced to go outside, and I felt really uncomfortable, really completely the first couple of days. But now I'm much more comfortable. I mean, I sat in a truck stop with a casino. I sat in a parking lot, put up my windows, and I actually had meals. I know that having available non-cooked meals are good because then you can eat them without having to cook and keep all your windows blacked out so nobody can see you. And I think I've found other ways to stay concealed while I sit in my car better. So it's not so bad anymore. I mean, it was never bad in the beginning, so I guess my view hasn't changed too much. But I think it's just gotten easier because I've been doing it for so long. So yeah, sorry if I didn't answer your question, but it's been okay. I do still prefer areas with less people, though. I don't think that'll ever change. But yeah. All right, we have a big comment from Brittany Collinsworth. Let's see if I could just push it up. All right. Hey Jay, as a former Walt Disney World employee, I love the Mickey shirt. I have 2 questions. What was one of your biggest facepalm moments, lessons in your early days at the PCT? How have your hiking expectations been affected by the increase in your experience? All right, so the first part, one of the biggest lessons I had in the PCT was I never had facial hair. And at one point I was hiking with the group Sparky, Ghost Rider, Ghost Hiker, and Trooper. And then I asked Sparky, I said, like, how do you keep the hairs here from going in your mouth? Because I had no idea. So he said, you got to trim it. I thought, oh, you got to trim it. So that was one big lesson I learned. That was one of the biggest thing I remember as being a lesson. And how's your hiking expectations been affected? Well, I'd say the biggest thing that was different from the thru hike was I had this idea that people that say they thru hiked it, but a lot of people don't, and they just say they thru hiked it. I know there's no checking, so people kind of just do whatever. It seems like a lot of hikers are doing it for the popularity and to be able to call themselves that, and they know that they can because nobody can check up on it. So it's kind of detracted from what I believe. When someone says they're a thru hiker, I always go, I wonder how many miles they skipped. So, but I've also learned that it doesn't matter. I'll just do whatever I want. So I guess in that aspect, I've seen the same. Pretty much just do whatever I want, you know. And another part that's changed though is, unfortunately, I think on day hikes I become too comfortable, and I think, oh, I could do that, no problem. Oh, I don't need that. And there's so many times I go somewhere without my inReach, then I think I should have brought my inReach. Just things like that. I hope I don't get complacent and get myself in a situation that I shouldn't, just because I think, or I thought, oh, I did this great thing, I don't need this now. But time will tell. A question came up from Cynthia Simpson. We'll just kind of pushed it up there. Will you meet up with Second Chance a little bit while you and they are in Germany? Well, Cynthia, actually, I forgot to bundle this with the other part, but yeah, no, we won't be, just because he's back in the States now. He only spent a couple of weeks here. We texted back and forth before we both left the U.S., and he'll be back. I don't know if he's told everyone that, and if I'm supposed to say it, but he'll be back, and we may, but we only have so many weekends here left, and we actually have a calendar printed up, and we planned out our weekends and what we're doing. And with all the different trips and trip back home to her family and things, it's going to be pretty busy, so I kind of doubt we will. And Tina is working 5 days a week, so we can't just take off in the middle of the week, except the one time we are. So it's unlikely, but we'll see. And hopefully I bump into Second Chance out on trail somewhere. I don't know what his plans are, if he's going to stay in Florida, but I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully he swings by the CDT area, and we as I go north, we intersect. We'll see. Thanks for the question, Cynthia.
Well, thanks for all the questions, everybody. There were more than I was hoping at least I would get, so it was good, and I hope it isn't too long. I see it's quite long, but I'm going to edit it down, so it's going to get shorter. But it's quite long. I'm going to cut it off now, and I hope I answered most people's questions. There were some I wasn't sure what to say, and there were some I will definitely get into more in depth as far as my motivations of why I started backpacking, as well as how I'm trying to make additional money so I can last for another 11 years without having to get a 9-to-5 job. At least I hope it works out for me. I will tell you those plans so you can evaluate them and try them as well. I don't know, we'll see. All right, take care everybody, and you have a nice day.